Hello everybody, my name is Sniping is Fun and I welcome you back to the 65th character in this series of Smash Bros. Newcomer ideas for the upcoming game, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. 65 characters, I'm on my 65th character in going! I have numerous other third-party retro Nintendo characters to talk about, and as I mentioned in the last video, with Laharo from Disgaea, the 65th character is going to be yet again another return to the Castlevania franchise. My third character overall, and my second Belmont, Richter Belmont, from basically Rondo of Blood, Dracula X, numerous appearances in the series. I think he showed up in Symphony of the Night, one of the DS games I think he made an appearance in. You know, he's appeared numerous times in the series. He's a pretty important Belmont, next to like Trevor and Simon and whatnot. But as I mentioned, yet again, a return to the Castlevania franchise. And just like always, 3 separate categories. Why does the character make sense? Moveset ideas and percentage chance I can see him actually getting in. Richter Belmont, why? If Castlevania was to get a character, why would they pick Richter over someone like Simon? That's what I'm going to have to decide here. Well, first and foremost, as I mentioned in the Simon Belmont video, like, quite a few characters ago. I think it's like 14 characters ago now. He was my 51st character, somewhere in that range. Like, I feel Castlevania deserves a character. This is before I even talk about why Richter specifically. Castlevania deserves a character because of its iconic status on Nintendo. It's been around since the 80s. Most of the games have been on Nintendo. It's a cult classic series on Nintendo, the same as like Ninja Gaiden and Mega Man and Bomberman and numerous other third parties. It's like Castlevania is like the next definitive third-party franchise that should be represented in Smash Brothers. Has too many appearances on Nintendo, too much history with Nintendo to deny it. And basically, he's one of the major, and then in terms of him specifically, he's one of the major appearances, one of the major characters from the Castlevania franchise that's not named Simon Belmont, Alucard, Somocruz, or Dracula. He is one of the major Belmonts that's not named Simon Belmont. He is in multiple games in the series. He has Nintendo appearances. Not as much as Simon, but he's there. He's like, if they chose to pick another Belmont other than Simon, the only other competition Richter really has is Trevor and maybe Julius. That's about it. Like Christopher, Siriu, Leon, they're not really all that likely. But really, Richter is just as likely as Trevor, who are both below pretty much Simon, and Julius, throw him in there somewhere because he has a chance to somewhere. But yes, Castlevania deserves a rep because of its history on Nintendo, and Richter deserves to be the rep if not Simon, because he has almost just as many appearances on Nintendo as Simon, and he's just as major of a character in the franchise as Simon. So yeah, there you go. That's the reasons for why I feel he deserves to be in. Moveset ideas, and quite frankly, I've mentioned this in the Simon Belmont video, a lot of the Belmont clan uses the Vampire Killer, which is the name of the whip. So I'm going to be taking most of the moveset I gave to Simon and throwing it on Richter with a few small changes, and enough to make him different. So like how I was doing all those armed characters like Springman and, you know, Ribbon Girl and Twin Tail and everything, and talk about how I slightly changed up their movesets, like what we now consider what was once clone characters, now Echo Fighters. In my opinion, my moveset of him would be what would be deemed an Echo Fighter. But yes, because there's not that big of a difference, but there's small differences that make him his own unique character. Obviously, the smash attacks have to be the Vampire Killer. The Vampire Killer. The whip. He has to whip forward. He has to whip up. He has to go like Simon Belmont in Super Castlevania 4. He has to be able to strike forward, strike diagonal, strike up, strike down, get on his knees, and it has to be the Vampire Killer. It has to be the whip. And that can be his grab, too. Which I don't mention for a lot of these characters what their grabs are. Special attacks, obviously, it's going to be the dagger. It's going to be the holy water. It's going to be the cross. It's going to be the axe. The overarching throwing axe. The throwing dagger. The holy water on the ground. Magic. If the opponent walks in it, they die. They get hurt, beaten up, whatever. They receive damage. He does have a pocket watch, and I was thinking and contemplating about including it or not, because that's kind of cheap, because it slows down time, slows down an opponent. But if they include it in his moveset, maybe you can throw it at an opponent and slow him down for a little period of time, so you can go in there and you can do a few attacks. It's not going to last long, because that's OP and cheap. But maybe you use the pocket watch, and the opponent's like, oh, I'm gonna get you, and then you can go like, I'm gonna get you, and you beat him up. And he also has a magic book, which I don't know I'm not entirely sure what that does. I'm assuming that means he can shoot magic out of his hands. He can use the magic book, and it's a ranged attack magic thing, which is something Simon doesn't have. So the pocket watch and the magic book are two sub-weapons in the series, and obviously they have to represent the sub-weapons. That's a major important point of the series in his attacks, and those are two that are kind of almost distinct to Richter. So the magic book makes him shoot out magic spells, and the pocket watch makes him slow down opponents. You have to be really precise with shooting at an opponent, don't hitting him with it. So it's not like you're a centimeter off and it cheapens. It makes it cheap. You have to be precise with that attack. And before I even get on to the final smash, he is more agile. He is more faster than Simon. He can do somersaults. He can do somersault flying up kicks and sideways kicks. So some of his special attacks or his smash attacks could be him leaping across the stage with a somersault kick or leaping upwards with a somersault like type move that can hit opponents above. So you can do so he's more agile. He could jump around the stage. He's faster. He's more agile. He's more athletic and moving around the stage. So he'd be a faster Simon compared to my moveset that's probably more combo heavy and can do a little bit more damage in terms of combos, but not super heavy damage like maybe Simon can to make up for it. Maybe he's not super heavy damage, but if you do enough damage in combos, you'll rack up percentage. So that's the smash attacks. And that's the smash and special attacks. That's the moveset. He's going to be able to use a whip. He's also for smash attacks, and special attacks would be like the holy water, throw on the ground, the cross, which is like a boomerang, goes in and comes back, double damage if you hit opponents twice, the arching axes, the daggers, the magic book, which shoots out spells, and the pocket watch, which slows down the opponent if you hit him precisely. And then he could do somersaults. He could do like a somersault jump across the stage. This is him. And thing. So you can hit opponents in the air, you can jump across the stage and hit opponents with range. That's his biggest difference between him and Simon. So he's going to be faster than Simon. In terms of a final smash, I didn't want to give him the flame whip because that's kind of copying Simon. And I looked into Rondo of Blood, which is like his major game. And there's a thing called the item crash, which means you use more hearts for your sub-weapon than you standardly do for whatever sub-weapon you have, and you deal more damage, but it takes more hearts. And I looked at each and every one of them, given that I haven't played Rondo of Blood, sorry. And I'm like, which one sounds more like a final smash? And I picked the item crash for the holy water, which is called like the Hydro Storm, where he summons down a rainstorm that continuously damages opponents, which would make them receive damage consistently. I'm getting rained on! Oh! And you're receiving damage, so you can just run in there, start beating them up. They get received 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 damage, and you just knock them off the stage. So you can probably get about 2 to 4 kills maybe in the time span. It might last for a little bit. But I'm assuming since it's quick and to the point, that would be a standard final smash in a past game. Because it's quick and to the point now. Cutscene, they receive damage, and then Richter just hits them with a whip and sends them final stage. Maybe if you want to make it a cutscene one. But if you want to make it a normal final smash, like in past Smash Bros. Games, the rain comes down, they get heavy damage, like Luigi's negative zone, and then you just beat them up, and they can get easier to knock off the stage. There you go. But that's the one that sounded the coolest. There was the Cross one, which sounded pretty cool, and the Magic Book one, which sounded pretty cool, and even the Axe one sounded pretty cool. But the Hydro Storm for the Holy Water, that item crash, sounded the best. So he makes a rainstorm come down on you, he summons a rainstorm, and then since it's probably going to be quick to the point cutscene, he's just going to hit you with the whip, grab you, and just after you receive a lot of damage, just throw you off the stage. There you go. Whoever he catches in the final smash. And that's it for the moveset. Now on to percentage chance I can see him actually getting in. To be fair, Simon is and always will be the most likely character from the Castlevania series to get into Smash Bros. There are people there fighting for that spot with him, which includes Richter and Trevor, Soma Cruz, Alucard, Julius, and maybe Dracula. Like, they're all fighting for that spot with him. There's numerous Castlevania characters that are fighting for the spot, but Simon's still the top choice, and I gave him an 85% chance because he's the number one choice, obviously. I'm giving Richter Belmont a 60% chance. He's probably one of the next big ones to be put in. Maybe not as big as Simon, but he's on the same level as like a Soma Cruz. He's on the same level as like a Julius and a Trevor Belmont and Alucard. Those are like the ones fighting for the spot. So yes, 60% chance. But overall, I do really think what they should do is just take Simon Belmont, put him in the game, and pull what they did with Bowser Jr., where he had all the Koopalings as costumes, and make Leon and Trevor and Soma Cruz and Julius and Siriu and Richter and all that, just alternate costume characters for him, because all of them use a whip. Even Soma Cruz uses a whip, and all of them use sub-weapons, which does kind of hinder a Soma Cruz thing, because it's kind of cheating a bit, but that's an easy way to get him cheap and put him in. So I just say, realistically, just pick Simon Belmont and make 7 of his costumes, other Belmonts and Soma Cruz. There you go. Perfect. Done. So yes, that is it for Richter Belmont. And as always, put in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys like Richter Belmont? Do you want to see Castlevania get a character in general? Do you think he stands a chance against Simon Belmont? Do you think anyone else deserves a chance to get in there besides Simon? What about my idea of just throwing them all as costumes and alternate characters for Simon, like how Bowser Jr. has all the Koopalings? I think that'd be kind of cool. But what about the moveset ideas? Does him being more agile and using the Hydro Storm be cool? 60% too high, too low? My reasons for why he deserves to get in. Discuss it down there below. We can have fun, have whatever the heck else, and that's it for character number 65. And when we return for character number 66, we're going to be jumping back into the world of retro games for another retro character, which, to be fair, I actually haven't done a video on a retro character in a while. I did all like the Starmans and like the Muddy Moles and the Excite Bikers well back, like 20-some characters ago, but I haven't done a retro character in a while. And speaking of Starman, I'm going to be doing character 66 on yet another character from the pro wrestling game on the NES when I talk about Fighter Hayabusa. So stay tuned for that, and see you all later. Booyah!